interview questions today. All right, so Tara, what you got for me?
All right, let's get started. If you could briefly explain by how you got started.
Oh man, so how I got started. All right, so 18 years old, didn't know what I want to do with my life, tried to pursue architecture, and so I decided to start training people out the trunk of my car. I used to walk around with a kettlebell, a TRX strap, and a pair of boxing gloves and go around pulling up to people's houses saying, hey, do you want to work out today? And that's pretty much how I got started.
All right. So what inspired you to pursue this career?
Growing up, I was always an athlete, loved training, just didn't know that you could make it into a career. Architecture wasn't for me. My parents were super supportive and pretty much just told me that if you like to train, just keep pursuing that, and that's what I went with. So, yeah.
And was that your purpose?
At first it was just for workouts. As I got older, I felt like my purpose became to actually help people once I started seeing people get results and losing a lot of weight. And even with the kids training that I do now, it's more than just training. It's like a mentorship, like me teaching them, like, don't make the same mistakes that I did. You know?
Okay. How did your early experiences prepare you for the responsibilities as an owner?
Oh man, I owe that to my parents. Like, just like the simple tasks that they would give me, like, show up on time, take care of your business first, have fun later, and save every dollar that you make, which took a long time to learn. Because in business, you always have to show up for your clients. No matter what happens, you always have to show up for the deal that you're gonna make with someone new, or if it's a new business proposal that you're getting, or even, and especially when it comes to money, like, you have to save every dollar, because things like quarantine and COVID can happen to you. If it was never for those times, I never probably would have made it through that.
All right, so as far as your facility goes, can you explain the floor plan here?
All right, so the floor plan is for the client, actually. So if you walk into the studio, you'll see the front desk. So what we try to create is a great customer experience, and the front desk is open floor plan with group fitness. So when a customer walks in, they'll see the group fitness classes. They get extremely motivated because we have the youngest ages maybe like 10 years old, oldest client maybe like 70, 75 years old. So with the adult fitness, you'll see all that fun stuff going around. And then as we go throughout as we walk throughout the gym, like, you'll see the kids room that we have for the parents that bring in the little ones that want to sit there on their iPads or play with our toys that we have in there. We have the showers in the back. We have the boxing bags in the back, so we always show the person how they can do boxing combinations. You'll walk to my other side. This is my favorite side, which is my athlete side. I have a bunch of shirts and jerseys all over the gym, flags, and my goal with this is to show people that we work with a lot of local high school talent, local college talent, and it's nice to see the kids that give us respect, or we should respect the kids that's going to these big schools as well. So, that's always part of my plan. And then we walk them back to the front desk, and that's when we pitch them, like, saying, hey, you have the opportunity to try out 2 free classes, or you could sign up with us.
So you would say that's why you picked this concept, right?
That is 100% why I picked the concept, and just for the customer experience. Our number one, mission here is to always give a great customer experience, because the customers is what the clients is what brings you more clients.
So how would you say this affects your revenue stream?
Ooh, how does that affect? Honestly, like, one people brings 2 people, right? So I think the revenue stream comes down to our services. So we offer personal training, group fitness classes, and sports performance training. I don't get overcomplicated. In the beginning, I tried to do smoothies. I tried to do the meal plans. That was just out of what we wanted to do, and that's just something that we didn't specialize in, so we weren't good at it. Right, so I think it affects our revenue stream by when people come in and they see the group fitness class, they get motivated, so they instantly want to sign up, right? So we notice a nice boost there. And then with most of the adults have kids. Kids do what? They play sports, right? They like to go outside, like to do fun stuff. So we get the sports training with that. Now, how it does affect it in a negative way is that we all know Chicago has the best summer, so people like to go out, stop coming to the gym. So we'll see a dip in our adult fitness. Where we make up for it is the kids do sports performance training, where they have to get prepared for their fall sport or football or whatever sport they got coming up.
Okay. How many square feet is this gym?
All right, so the total square foot is 4,600 square feet. I started out with 24. 9 months after that, I expanded to an extra close to 2,000 square feet. Yeah, that's it. Including bathrooms and all that stuff. But if you want to say working space is always what matters too. I would say about 4,000 roughly.
And how many members do you currently have?
Membership, we have about 400 members.
All right, that's pretty good. And how about employees? How many of those do you have on board?
Oh, I just got rid of 2 employees. But no, we're on good terms. But I try to keep a staff of 5 people. You know, each one of my staff, they do personal training, group fitness, and sports training. And I have 2 managers that specialize in, one is in the accounts, like making sure everything is good, and the other one specializes in the personal training aspect, making sure that aspect is always good.
Okay. As far as your programs and services, what type of services do you offer?
So like I said, we do the group fitness, personal training, and sports performance training. So like the personal training, the way we like to do it is group fitness first, then we try to get people on to personal training afterwards. Like those are for the adults that really want to lose weight. The classes are more for just like the good vibes and the people that want to take serious, do more personal training. Our sports performance is more for the athletes that want to go to the next level.
Okay. And how would you describe your ideal customer?
Oh man, ideal customer is anyone that drives me crazy. My ideal customer is anyone that is not serious, like they want to, not old athletes or anything like that, but the customer that's, that's fighting, dealing with chronic diseases, or the customer that's serious about losing weight and actually want to make a lifestyle change. On the flip side, with the sports kids, I want to say the kid that never done sports in his life and he wants to get into sports and actually wants to make a team or be a part of a club. That's the first one. And the second one is the high school kid that wants to actually go to a good college. That's our ideal customer.
Okay. And how would you separate yourself in such a competitive market?
Relationships is everything. We're not corporate. I don't try to be corporate. I don't have all these big dollars where I can sit here and say, we're going to make money based on them not showing up. It doesn't work like that. Where if our customers don't show up, one, they'll probably cancel their membership within a few months, right? That doesn't help us. And they won't get the results that they deserve where they can go out and tell their friends, right? So if they're not telling their friends, it's not helping us in any way. Like I said, I don't have these big marketing dollars where I can just sit here and open a gym and charge $10 or $1 for all these people. We actually need people to get in shape for people to tell us where they're working out at. Tell other people where they're working out at.
So as far as your daily tasks and habits, could you walk me through a typical day in your role?
As being a business owner, typical day, I start my day every day at 3 to 3:30 a.m. And the reason why I have to start this early because I still personal train. If I could pull myself out of personal training, my days would be completely different. So I start at 3:30 a.m. I do what I call my non-negotiables or my to-do list, and that pretty much go over my reports for the day, and I schedule out all my text messages, all my emails for the day at 3:30 in the morning. 4:30, I would say my first client walks in, and I'm training until about, let's say 9, 10 a.m. If I don't have school or classes or anything like that, I work on my prospecting. Me prospecting is me trying to get the customer to come back into the facility, find out where the missing customers are, or trying to lead my team to build the gym in a better aspect. Take a break throughout the day for about an hour or two, and then later at night, I come back and then train the rest of my clients from 3 to 9 p.m.
All right.
And then late at night, I go over my sales, go over my accounting, make sure all my money and my financials make sense.
How long would you say on average it takes you to accomplish each task?
Honestly, I feel like I'm still dealing with that now. When I first opened, it took me about 2 years to get it down because, like I said, the hardest thing is that I still personal train, so I have to still be in my business. I still work it in my business versus working on it, so that's always the hard part, right? So I would say each task, I can't put a time frame down on that, but I would say for me, Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule has to look the same. We're doing tasks. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I focus on group fitness, anything group fitness related, whether it's marketing, whether it's like trying to get group fitness customers to come in. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work on personal training, trying to get those clients to come in, try to figure out where they went and where they at so far sessions wise.
Okay. And how do you prioritize your tasks to manage your time efficiently?
The 5 most important things in any company is marketing, negotiation, and sales. Okay, the last 2 will be your finances and your team. Like those are the most important things that I knock out. So if there's nothing related to that and I can't do that in the morning, I'm not doing it. That's how I prioritize it, I should say.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest challenge you currently face and how are you working to overcome that?
The biggest challenge, it's 2 challenges. First challenge is this generation of people, I don't know if it's a quarantine thing, work, they do not want to work. Like, that's the hardest part, and it's hard to find somebody that's as passionate as you are about fitness. Everybody nowadays, and not to throw any shade, is very entitled, and they feel like you owe them something. That's the hardest part. And I would say the next hardest part would be, coming up with a new marketing idea. Like, because you spend so much revenue, and then you have to pay people, you have to come up with your bills, and you have to figure out a way to do what's next and what's new, and besides following trends like everybody else. I would say those are the two complicated things.
Okay. And how can you improve those challenges?
Bring a team in. You got to bring in somebody that's way better than me at marketing. So I've been trying to work on that, like reading stuff online or even like talking to friends that's in marketing. But what I would need to do is I would honestly need to invest my money into hiring a marketing team that works with me, and they do all my marketing for me, and I just come up with ideas, because no successful business is done without a team. And my other one is I honestly need to come up with a better system where every day I just filter through my Indeed applications, keep constantly pushing out material for new hires until I find a perfect fit.
Okay. As far as growth is concerned, what other opportunities do you plan on expanding in the future?
I think right now, like, I have the opportunity, right? Like, I can open up as many clubs as I want, but as far as I'm concerned, like I said, with the employee problem and the marketing problem, those being two main problems, it's hard for me to expand, right? Especially because I can't be in multiple places. But you said, what is my plan, right?
Yes.
What's my plan? So I would think my plan would be to, expand this place as much as I can. I'm not done with Payless Heights and the south suburbs at all. There are a few more things. Like, I would love to add more floor space for my athlete training. I would love to add more floor space for the adult fitness. I would love to get a couple more equipment. I would love to put a jacuzzi and pool in here so I can cater towards other things like recovery. And I see myself a few years from now, once I'm done with physical therapy school, possibly tapping into that.
Okay. And how do you measure success when it comes to your company's growth?
How do I measure success? Did you grow 1% every day? Like, that's how I measure success. I don't look at it like, some people look at it annually, which you should. Some people looking at it monthly, which you should. But you have to measure out, like I would say, okay, for instance, right? Like, a normal gym would close down during COVID. I had some friends that closed down during the quarantine. But what I've learned during quarantine, not to use that as a crutch, is there are so many missing things, and I'm so thankful for quarantine. Thank God for quarantine, that I wasn't doing during that time process that allowed me to see what I need to do. Like, for instance, client walks in, we forget to follow up with the client, and then 3 months later go by, I was like, oh my God, Lamont, we never contacted these people. Now, if you take $100 to $200 and multiply that about 30 people that I've noticed on paper during quarantine that we've done that to, that's where I noticed where the success we wasn't successful at. So my belief is 1% every day.
Okay.
Outside of revenue.
So looking into the future, where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
I see us tapping into like the medical. I see us tapping into that aspect of like, I'm not trying to be like Lifetime. I don't want a 50,000 square foot facility. I don't want to take on all that debt. I want a nice size facility that's 10 to 15,000, maybe 20,000 square feet. I would love to cater towards medical, like I said, with the physical therapy aspect, the urgent care aspect, maximizing on adult fitness, having more equipment, and just showing people in Chicago, like, yes, our weather sucks, but you should still train and prioritize your health and wellness.
Okay. And how does tech affect your company?
Oh man, it's crazy because tech, I swear, I always said to you that I was never worried about tech until quarantine happened. And the reason why I say that, because going to the gym, going to the city, you see all these different gyms, and they came up with this concept where you QR code, or I scan your ID, you go into a gym, there's nobody in there, and you QR code the equipment and people working out. And I went to this gym and I saw so many people coming in, and now it's hard to get a spot to book. And I'm just like, wow, I was never worried about that, and I never thought about it that in that aspect. So I'll say that be a number one. Number two would be, you could literally take somebody that doesn't know anything about fitness, and they can compete with me, and they can just AI everything and learn everything they need to know about running a facility and start the business plan. How does this work? But the hardest part would be for them would be executing. The only thing I think that's what stopped us, was they can't beat us at is the personal aspect. Like when you add that personal aspect of knowing someone, mom and dad, and knowing the kids, being involved with the kids' life, going to the game, going to graduations, showing up to your clients' parties because they're always showing up for your stuff, and they're spending crazy amounts of money with you. When you put that personal aspect in it, I think that's the best way to beat anybody out. But as far as like tech is concerned, it's just the AI thing, like I said, with somebody not knowing what they're doing and just the QR code thing, I think that beats us out.
Okay. And what type of legacy do you hope to leave as a leader?
I always said, on my monument, or my monument, just put a transformation picture or a picture of you and I, in the gym together, Legacy is like, how did I influence your life, in a positive way, whether it's like in the gym or outside the gym. That's the only thing I care about. No amount of dollars, nothing, all that stuff doesn't matter to me. Like, did I affect your way in a positive way? I made you healthier, or I made you a better person.
All right, I got one last question for
Okay.
you. What advice would you give someone who is looking to get into your field?
I got a good question. I'm gonna relate this to business too. Best advice I can give to anybody that's young, let's say young, and they want to get into this field, is to just start. Find a place that you can work with, sit up under a trainer. You have the perfect opportunity that I wish I had right now, that I wish I had when I was your age. It was hard to get into gyms, is that nobody's working. So if you just put in a little bit of effort, sit up under a trainer, somebody like me, and just listen, go through everything with them, like the assessment process, teaching the class, dealing with customers, taking in money, stuff like that, you'll be extremely successful. And also, like, for the last part, if you guys are looking to get into business, start now. Like, if you're a freshman or a sophomore, junior, senior year in college, like, start now, because you gotta look at it like this. This is the way I look at it. You're 20 years old. It's gonna take you 4 years to get your degree. In 4 years, don't start your degree and then start a business. It's gonna take you another 4 years to make 100 grand or whatever the amount of money that you wanna make. What you need to do is start now, build your systems, learn how to charge, learn how to work with customers, work on your degree, do that on the side. And by the time you look at it, when everything's said and done, 4 years, you'll probably have